All right. And good morning, everybody. This is Sherman Ray, Black Success Magazine, the podcast. And we are coming to you just once again, folks. This is I just don't know how to say this, folks. We're riding a wave right now. Very excited about what's going on in life. And we've got a new show coming out. And we've got all kinds of new things that are going to happen in 2021. You consider after we come out of 2020, or even I don't even like to say that word anymore, but you come out of a time that we just went through, and you say to yourself, "Excuse me, boy, I am just excited about the year that's ahead of us." So today on Black Success Magazine, the podcast, we're going to talk. We're going to continue our conversation about how to come up with great creative ideas, and we'll call this part do or two. And because you know what, you can never get enough great ideas, and I tend to be the kind of person who spends a lot of time thinking. And a lot of ideas come up, and people go, "Gosh, Sherm, you come up with these great ideas and everything else." Well, it's because I do it a lot. I mean, that's really kind of what I do. And or let me ask you a question: why are people who are funny people? Well, it's because that's what they do. They just think of funny stuff all the time, and that's why funny people are funny. So let's do a little housekeeping first. Black Success Magazine, for those of you, this might be your first time checking out the show. We come to you Monday through Friday about 8:30 in the morning, and we talk about success. That's really what we do. We bring on business owners. We bring on success pioneers. This week, we started off the week with Tim Sanders, working on that video because I really like to make sure that everybody gets their hands on that video because it was powerful. I am still going through it. I listen to parts and snippets of it on a daily basis. And this has got to get down in your spirit. Some of the stuff that Tim was talking about, I don't know if you really got it. If you have a chance to check it out, you can either go to our Facebook page, which it's on our Facebook page, and we shared it, gosh, pretty extensively. And I want to thank all the other people who shared that video. So we check that out on our Facebook page. You can either go to my personal Facebook page, which is Sherman Ray, or you can go to Black Success Magazine, the Facebook page, and check out our Tim Sanders. It was on Monday. So we come on Monday through Friday, so you'll have to go back a couple of days, but it's there. Share it, folks. Just share the show, and I think you'll be, as I was, very, very impressed with what Tim Sanders did. So let's talk about how to come up with great creative ideas in 2021, part 2. And let's go back to what we were talking about in the beginning. What is an idea? Well, an idea is a connection between two concepts. We talked about Steve Jobs. And Steve Jobs, the driving force behind Apple and the Macintosh and iPhone and all that other stuff, he saw a void. He said, "You know what? There's something missing here. I have this phone, but I've got a computer, and I can't communicate with people the way I want, and I need to have a connection between all these things." And he came up with a great idea. And that was the iPhone. And I've got my iPhone over there someplace. Of course, it's nowhere near me. And that's really what an idea is. So that's what this show is about today. We talked about it yesterday, about coming up with great ideas and creative ideas. So we're going to come up with a few more ideas that I think you're going to really enjoy. And so let's continue. Number 1, come up with 10 ideas every day. Now, this seems pretty simple, that you need to come up with ideas every day. Well, ideas are like anything else, and finding great ideas is just like anything else too. The more ideas you come up with, the more likely you are to come up with one of those ideas, which is going to be a great idea. So coming up with great ideas every single day is important. So this is what I suggest for you to do. Pick a topic every day. Okay, whatever that topic might be. It might be dress design. Let's say you're a dress designer. Sorry about that. My chair's a little spunky there. Let's say you're a dress designer and you want to come up with a new pattern. Okay, come up with 10 ideas for that pattern. You might have to go out of the house and go looking for it. Don't make this tough, folks. Don't make this so that you're gonna, go crazy. It really needs to be very spontaneous. Get your muscle. Ideas and your creative juices are like a muscle, and the more you use it, the more you will come up with it. You see these people that will go and they'll actually stay in villages of people who all have the same kind of, uh, outlook on life. They'll go to an artist camp, or they'll go to some other creative camp, and they're around people that do this all day long. Well, and the reason why they do that is because your mind is like a muscle, and the more you exercise it, the more you'll get out of it. So if you're looking to have great creative ideas, start thinking about it all the time. I do this constantly. My wife wonders why, when I'm driving down the road, I'm looking at stuff right and left all day long. Well, I am looking for ideas. I'm looking at putting things together. I'll tell you a real quick story. I ran a networking group for about 5 years in the early 2000s, and I got good at doing one thing really well. I got good at connecting people with jobs, or with products, or with ideas, because that's all I did. I did that for 5 years. I mean, you get really good at, because you worked with a lot of business owners, so you get a lot of input. And I was studying leadership. I was studying marketing. I was studying, product development, that kind of stuff. And so it became second nature to me when somebody would come up to me, and I still do it to this day. Somebody will come up to me and they'll say, "Hey, Sherman, I've got this thing going on, blah, 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 blah." And I said, "Oh, I've got either the person for you, or I've got the concept that you can take this to the next level." Because that's just the way my mind works. Your mind is exactly the same way. Everybody has a creative bent to them. You just need to exercise it a lot more. So each and every day, your first principle, each and every day, come up with 10 ideas a day. Exercise that muscle. Let's go on to the second one. Today, we're talking about how to come up with great creative ideas for 2021. This is part 2. We started this yesterday. We'll probably go on to it next day, because this is really where you're going to make a lot of headway in 2021, is coming up with great ideas. Number 2 is read a lot. You see behind me, and you don't see what's over in front of me. I got books everywhere. Okay, read a lot. Well, you're saying to yourself, "Well, I don't have time to read." Well, there's an easier way to do it. Skim the books. You don't have to read every book. Amazon has a, I think, what was the name of that? Gosh, I wrote this down. Let me make sure this. Amazon has a section called Look Inside, and it's a technology that lets you look inside of a book that you don't have to read the entire book. So what you want to do is you want to use that feature using Amazon, or grab a book. Let's say I've got a book here. Okay. Oh, I remember this book. This was a great. So you can see I mark pages on books too a lot. So you skim the books. Generally what happens, folks, is if you've got a book, the first 2 sentences in a paragraph are basically the meat of what they're trying to get you to understand in the book. You can do that a lot, or just come down the page and read down the page a little bit. It'll give you the general idea of what the book is, and highlight and keep the information that you think is the most relevant. Because not all books have everything. It's not all meat and potatoes, the entire, book. A lot of it's a lot of fluff. Okay. But there are a lot of sections of books that you can actually get great information from just by skimming the book. Interesting thing about books also is that you want to, sorry about that, I want to keep that back there, is important books too, you want to read the entire thing. Okay, like Tim Sanders' book. Tim Sanders has a book that it's called Now We Are Rich. And it's just dynamite. Required reading. Where did I put it at? Today We Are Rich is what it's called. Actually, it's up there now. But that is required reading, that you need to have that book. Get it in you. And those kinds of books like that, stuff by Seth Godin, books by Brian Tracy, books by or magazines like we have over at Black Success Magazine. Go to our webpage, check it out, Black Success Magazine, and you can check out our magazine. It's got some great stories in it that you want to read. But you want to be able to read, and the reason why you want to read is you want to get more ideas in you. Okay? You want to get more ideas in you. And the more ideas you get in you, like I was saying before, I'm good at this, folks. I'm good at it because I get a lot of ideas. And when I get a lot of ideas, you come up to me. Let's say you come up to me and you say, hey, Sherm, I got this thing that I'm working on. I have another idea that I just went through. I can combine that with your idea. And now we can come up and we can connect with that with a great idea. Okay. And that's the way, the more ideas you get in you, the more diversity of thought you get in you, the more creative you're going to be. That's why I don't have just one kind of friend. And this has been something that's been a part of my life, my entire life, but it doesn't mean you can't start it now. Your friends cannot all be homogeneous. And what I mean by that is they can't all be this kind of person. Okay. They can't all, and on your, let's say you're on Facebook, you can't just go to one page on Facebook and say, okay, that's where I'm getting all of my input from all of my, sources of creativity. In my particular, if anybody looks at my Facebook profile, they will see that I go all over the place. I mean, just everywhere, because that is the only way you're going to be a well-rounded person, and you're going to be able to get a lot of creative juices. My pastor many years ago told me this. He said, Sherman, you are a very good musician. Okay, for those of you who don't know, I'm actually a musician. So I play guitar and bass and piano and that kind of stuff, and I'm a singer. He said, but you are a one-legged horse. You need to become more valuable, and the only way you're going to get more valuable is immerse yourself in different things that you do in life. And this is an old friend of mine named Pastor Joel. And so I embarked then on a journey to study John Maxwell. I've got pretty much everything John Maxwell has. Before John Maxwell became the guru that he is, and he was a guru when I met him, and this is years ago, is we studied John Maxwell in our church. And that's all we did. I mean, that I know John Maxwell stuff. There's no doubt about it, about leadership principles, product development, all kinds of things, PR, all those things, marketing. And then you diversify that with music, and you diversify that with art, you diversify that with management, all those things all combine, sports, all kinds of things like that, and you become a very well-rounded person. So combining ideas only comes if you expose yourself to different input. Okay. Let's talk about number 3 or number 4, I believe it is. 4. Doodling. Okay. So what the heck does doodling have to do with anything? Okay. We're talking about coming up with great ideas. There's a scientific study that says that people who doodle or sketch, okay, once again, I've got sketchbooks all over the place. People who doodle and sketch tend to have a larger output of creative ideas. And there's a connection that happens between your mind and your hand that is different than you just sitting there thinking about stuff. Okay. If you notice, many of the engineers come up with great things. If you look at some of the pioneers in the world of thought, the pioneers in the world of engineering, design, coming up with just just prolific ideas. They are doodlers, and they sit there and they've got, and it's not like, see, there's my last doodle. Can you see that? It really kind of looks like a snake, I guess. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, it's kind of like a snake. But that might become an idea at some point. That might be something where so like these are 4 humps, right? Okay, these are 4 humps. I don't know if you can see that, folks. It's kind of tough for you to see. Okay, you can see it that way a little bit better. I might come up with an idea based upon those 4 humps. Okay, and I'm already thinking about it right now. Okay, these could be 4 strategies. Okay, the ups, the downs, ups, the downs. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. But there is a method, and there is a benefit to you becoming a doodler, somebody who restructures things. You might actually put things on paper and then put them back together again. Who knows? We talked about this yesterday, where you take an idea, and this is an old idea that went back from the 20s, where people would take ideas, and let's say, I don't have it here right now, but it's over there. Let's say you want to come up with a fantastic idea. Let me give you an idea. I'm going to tear up some paper here really quick here, folks. Well, I hate to tear up good paper. And that's a good idea, so I don't want to tear that up. Let's say you have an idea, and let's say I'm going to draw a picture, okay? This might be a great thing for you to try, okay? Blank piece of paper. Let's say I draw a picture on my piece of paper, and you don't have to be an artist, guys. I'm not a great artist. I'm a great sketcher. Okay, if you give me enough time, I can draw pretty good. But I'm sketching things. Let's say we come up with an idea, and in this one we got A, B, C, and D. So in each corner of the paper, we've got this, A, B, C, D. Okay. Now let's say that's the order in which I had an idea. Wow, but I really want to do something better with that idea. So what do? I take that idea. Some of you are getting it already, right? I take that idea. Now I break it up into different pieces, and then I put it back together, kind of. So it's already torn apart now. Now I put it back together, and it's a whole different thing. Okay. All right. I put it back on the page, and I put it back together. Why do we do this? Okay. There's a method to every bit of madness. You do it so you can see things in a different way. And now your perspective on that thing is different, because now it's not A, B, C, D. It might be A, D, E, F, G, or whatever, It might be colors. It might be whatever, but you're seeing it in a different way. You're breaking up that old mindset that you have, because we all have that. We all do that in life. We all just kind of have mindsets, and we all have things that we kind of do in life. Let's go on to the next one. Let's get abstract. Let's get abstract in your viewpoint. What do we mean by being abstract in your viewpoint? What we mean by being abstract in your viewpoint is we tend to see things a certain way. My shirt happens to have certain patterns on it, but I'm looking for solutions to problems. Let's say I have a boss who lives here in Las Vegas, where I live at, and I'm going to ask him for a raise. The normal way that I would ask my boss for a raise would be to walk into his office and say, "Hey, boss, I'd like a raise," because I'm a really nice guy. Smile a little bit at him and give him all the excuses. And then I would wait for my answer. Okay, I need to find a different way to ask my boss for a raise. Let's imagine my boss now lives in Singapore. Okay, it's a little different now, right? I still have to ask him for a raise because I still need money. Mama needs a pair of shoes. The kids need food, right? How are you going to ask your boss for a raise now? That's right. It's going to be a whole different thing. Let's apply that to any situation you have in life now. Instead of looking at, oh gosh, we did this with the Black Business Chamber. Black Business Chamber is normally a group where we buy a building or lease some rooms. We have networking events. We do things, and I know how to do that. I've done it so many times. I know how to do that, and I can be very successful about that. Now, COVID hits. How are you going to do it now? Oh, shoot. Now you got to be very creative because now everything's got to change. And that's the way you become more creative is you start putting obstacles in your way. Let's say, you know what? I want to become very successful in sports. And you're a runner or something like that. All of a sudden, and now say to yourself, I want to be very good at it. I can't run though. How can I be good at sports without running, without actually physically doing it? How can I do that now? You've got to come up with some ideas. That's how to be creative. That's why we're saying be abstract. Being abstract is seeing things in a different light, seeing things from a different vantage point. Let's even take it to another level. Let's say you want to be successful in a man's sport, traditional man's sport. Okay, we're going to be politically correct, I guess. A traditionally male-dominated sports. You're a woman now, and you say, "How am I going to do that?" Or you're a man. Let's say you still want to, look at it from that vantage point. How are you going to do it now? That makes a difference. That's why we're saying get abstract in your viewpoint. Don't look at things from the same old viewpoint. Distance yourself psychologically from your end goal and now try to get there. How are you going to get there now? I want to lose 40 pounds, or I shouldn't say I want to. I'm going to lose 40 pounds this year before my birthday, which is May 31st. How am I going to do that without running? How am I going to do that without real physical exercise? Now, I'm going to do it anyways. But how would I do it if I couldn't go out and exercise? How would I lose that weight? Okay, now I've got to be a little more smart about it too. Okay, you see what I'm saying? All right, let's go to the next one. And we're talking about how to come up with great ideas, great creative ideas, 2021, part 2. The next idea is to, there we go. Get more social. We need to be more social, folks. This is probably one of the most important ones, and I think it's probably going to be the most pleasurable ones for most people, even though there's a lot of us who really just don't like being around people. I like people a lot. I love being around people. There's a difference between being around people, networking, and being social. Okay, what we want to do is, in order to become creative, you need to mingle with different types of people. We touched on this a little bit at the beginning, that your circle of people needs to be more it needs to be more expansive. It needs to be more diverse. When you're being you gain from the people that you actually hang out with. I had lunch with one of my really dearest friends in a long. I've not seen. His name is Irv Pithwala. Okay, Irv is Indian. He's an awesome guy. Definitely comes from a different background than I do. And he talked to me about something. We were talking about cycling because I cycle. And he says to me, he goes, Sherm, why don't we have this particular business here in Las Vegas? And I went, oh my gosh, I would have never thought about that. I mean, I've heard of it before, but I never would have thought about it as a business. And he says, yeah, I came from a third world country. We had those in our country. How come we don't have them here in Las Vegas? And I went, oh my gosh. And I told one of my buddies that. And you ever know when you tell somebody something and their mind all of a sudden went hiccuped and it goes, and they're thinking about it and they're going, dear Lord, is that $1 million idea? That's what happened to this guy. I told him about my conversation with my Indian friend Irv, and he went, oh my gosh, I cannot believe that idea was not thought of, and he never thought about it. And this guy's a multimillionaire. I mean, he's definitely multimillionaire. That came from being social. So find creative ways to get out and socialize. Okay. Even though we are still coming out of COVID right now and it's hard to get out and talk to people, it is still very easy to touch people. We have people who we speak to via Zoom every day. I'm on a Zoom call 4 or 5 times a day. Many of those people are not even in this city. We do a Monday show, which is called, and we haven't done it in a while, so we're going to be getting back to that. But it's called "What in the Tech is Going On," and that show never has people from Las Vegas talk to us on a Zoom call. They're always from New York. They're always from Connecticut. They're from back east someplace, and that is really cool because you get a different perspective on life. The reason why, once again, the reason why you socialize, you get more social with people, is because there's a symbiotic relationship that happens. You get a different perspective on life. You get a different perspective on what's going on that you normally wouldn't get. I know somebody, thank you. Well, thank you, Rose. I just saw that somebody was chimed in my social feed or my chat feed, and I didn't see it before. Thank you, Rose. I appreciate that. So let's talk last time. We will talk about we're talking about how to come up with great ideas in 2021. Our last idea that we're talking about is to unblock the cycle with new patterns. Okay. We all get in the rut of doing the same thing over and over and over again. We talked about it yesterday. This bears repeating. We've got to break that cycle. And that cycle of doing things the same way, driving to work the same direction, crossing our legs the same way, whatever you do, you've got to change it now. And you've got to be very purposeful about this. Your brain is wired a certain way because you do things a certain way. And you've been doing them over and over again. A lot of things you do right now, you don't even realize you're doing them because you do them so much, just like I'm doing right now. Okay. Instead of doing it this way, I was doing it this way. It's because I do that over and over again. Okay. We need to be very and because we do things the same way, our mind gets wired a certain way. So to be creative, though, we need to break that cycle because we will continue to see things in the same direction. We need to begin to see, I'm changing my hand direction now. In order to see things differently, to become more creative, to have great ideas, we need to break that cycle by doing things differently, going to work a different direction, putting on our clothes differently, maybe even putting your pants leg on a different leg, when you put them on, okay? Wearing different colors. This year, you'll probably see me in a lot more colorful clothing because you know what? In my life, I want to be more outgoing. Okay. I know a lot of you are saying, boy, you're an outgoing guy anyways, but no, I want to be even more. I want to be, there is a part of me that says, yeah, I want to do that, and get excited about life all the time. Only way that's going to happen is I've got to get out of that old way of doing things. Okay. And now I have to move to a new level. I was a pretty excited person before, but I want to be even more exciting now. We need to unblock that cycle. The only way you unblock that cycle is to start looking at the things you're doing and then go, oh, shoot, let's start doing things a different way. Maybe doing things with your right hand as opposed to your left hand. Okay. Anyways, this has been Sherman Wright, Black Success Magazine, the podcast. We want to invite you to go to our website, which is at blacksuccessmagazine.com, and go there and check out all the stuff we've got there. We've got videos and podcasts and great articles. We're adding to it all the time. You can actually check out our magazine, which is on blacksuccessmagazine.com. Just go to the bottom of the page and check it out. We love it. It's the December issue, so it's our first issue. Very excited about that. If you'd like to send me an email, you'd like to be an advertiser, you want some advice on something like that, you want to talk to me, just send it to info@blacksuccessmagazine.com. And folks, if you'd like to follow us on our social media platforms, we're on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and of course, Apple Podcasts, where you can download our podcast, which we do every single day, Monday through Friday on Black Success Magazine. The podcast, once again, this has been Sherman Wright, Black Success Magazine podcast. We will see you again tomorrow, Friday, 8:30 Pacific time for Black Success Magazine. Once again, folks, have a wonderful day. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.